The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is one of the most talked about coins in the United States, not because every coin is valuable, but because a very small number of them are truly rare and worth big money. Most people have held a 1965 quarter in their hands at some point. It looks normal, it feels normal, and most of the time it is only worth its face value of 25 cents. But the story behind this coin, the changes that happened in 1965, and a few special mistakes made at the mint are what make this coin so interesting to collectors and YouTube viewers. Before 1965, US quarters were made from 90% silver. That means older quarters had real precious metal inside them. In the early 1960s, the price of silver started going up. People noticed that the silver inside the coins was becoming worth more than the face value of the coin itself. Because of this, many people stopped spending their coins and started saving them. This caused a serious coin shortage in the country. Stores and banks did not have enough coins, and the US government had to act quickly. In 1965, the United States Mint made a very important decision. They removed silver from quarters and replaced it with a new metal mix called clad. This new quarter had layers of copper and nickel instead of silver. The outside looks silver-colored, but inside there is copper. This change helped solve the coin shortage, but it also marked the end of the silver era for quarters. That is why 1965 is such an important year in US coin history. Another interesting thing about the 1965 quarter is that it has no mint mark. Normally, US coins have a small letter that shows where they were made. A D means Denver, an S means San Francisco, and a P means Philadelphia. But from 1965 to 1967, the mint removed all mint marks on purpose. They wanted to stop people from collecting and saving coins during the shortage. Because of this, every 1965 quarter has no mint mark, and that alone does not make it rare. Millions and millions of 1965 quarters were made. In fact, over 1 billion were struck for circulation. Because of this, most 1965 quarters are very common. If you find one in your pocket change today, it is almost always worth only 25 cents. This is very important for people to understand, because many online listings claim that every 1965 quarter is rare and valuable. That is simply not true. Now let's talk about value, starting from the lowest amounts and moving upward. A worn 1965 quarter that has been used for many years is usually worth exactly 25 cents. Coin dealers will not pay more for it, and collectors are not interested in heavily circulated examples. These coins are still everywhere, and they are not hard to find. If a 1965 quarter is in better condition, meaning it has less wear and still looks shiny, it may be worth a little more. An uncirculated 1965 quarter, one that was never used in everyday spending, can be worth around $1 to $3. This is usually the starting point for collector value. At this level, the coin must have clean surfaces, sharp details, and no major scratches. A very nice uncirculated 1965 quarter with strong shine, and almost no marks may be worth $5 to $10. These coins are harder to find because most quarters were used heavily. Collectors like coins that look close to new, and they are willing to pay a small premium for them. Coins in this range are still common, but they are not something you see every day in change. As condition improves even more, the value can go higher. A top-quality uncirculated 1965 quarter that has been professionally graded can sell for $20 to $50. These coins are not rare because of errors, but because of how well they were preserved. Condition matters a lot in coin collecting. Two coins from the same year can have very different values just because one looks better than the other. Now we move into the more exciting part, where errors come into play. Errors are mistakes made during the coin-making process. These mistakes are not common, and collectors love them because they tell a unique story. One type of error is a double die. This happens when the coin design is stamped twice in slightly different positions. This can cause the letters or numbers to look doubled. If a 1965 quarter has a clear double die error, its value can jump to $100 or more, depending on how strong the doubling is and how nice the coin looks. Another type of error is an off-center strike. This happens when the metal blank is not placed correctly in the machine before being struck. Part of the design may be missing, and the coin may look shifted to one side. If the date is still visible, collectors are interested. These coins can be worth $100 to $500 or more, depending on how dramatic the error is. Clipped planchet errors are also possible. This happens when part of the metal blank is missing before the coin is struck. The finished coin looks like it has a bite taken out of it. These errors are interesting but not extremely rare. A 1965 quarter with a clipped planchet might be worth $50 to $200, depending on size and condition. Now we reach the error that makes headlines and excites everyone, the silver planchet error. When the mint switched from silver to clad in 1965, a very small number of leftover silver blanks from 1964 were accidentally used. This means a few 1965 quarters were struck on 90% silver planchets by mistake. These coins look similar to regular quarters, but they are heavier and have a solid silver edge instead of a copper stripe. These silver planchet 1965 quarters are extremely rare. This is where values jump into the thousands. A confirmed silver planchet 1965 quarter can be worth $5,000, $7,500, or even $10,000 or more, depending on condition and grading. These are the coins that people talk about when they say a 1965 quarter can be worth big money. In very rare and special cases, a high-grade silver planchet error with professional certification has sold for even more. Some stories mention values like $15,000, $20,000, or even higher when collectors compete at auction. These prices are not common, but they are possible for the rarest examples. This is where the idea of a $25,000 value comes from, but it only applies to extraordinary coins, not normal ones. It is very important to understand that most people will never find one of these silver error coins. They are extremely rare, and many have already been discovered by collectors. However, that does not stop people from checking their coins, because the chance, even if small, makes it exciting. There are simple ways to check if a 1965 quarter might be special. One way is by weight. A normal clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. A small digital scale can help with this. Another way is to look at the edge. A normal clad coin shows a copper-colored stripe, while a silver coin does not. Sound can also be a clue. Silver coins make a higher-pitched ringing sound when dropped gently, while clad coins sound dull. This is not a perfect test, but it can help as a first step. If a coin seems unusual, the best option is to have it checked by a professional grading service. Many people make mistakes when it comes to this coin. One common mistake is thinking that no mint mark automatically means rare. That is not true for 1965. Another mistake is believing online listings that show normal coins priced at thousands of dollars. Just because someone asks a high price does not mean the coin is worth that amount. The true value of a coin depends on real sales, condition, and confirmed errors. Professional grading and authentication are very important when dealing with expensive coins. Without proper verification, a coin has little value in the serious collector market. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is a perfect example of how history, metal changes, and mint errors can affect value. Most of these coins are worth only face value, some are worth a few dollars, and a very tiny number are worth life-changing money. That range, from 25 cents to $25,000, is what makes this coin so fascinating. For viewers, the key takeaway is simple. Do not expect every 1965 quarter to be valuable. Learn what to look for, understand condition and errors, and be cautious of exaggerated claims. Coin collecting is about patience, knowledge, and sometimes a little luck. The story of the 1965 quarter is not just about money. It is about a turning point in American history, when the country moved away from silver coins and into modern coinage. It is about mistakes that slipped through during a busy time at the mint. And it is about how even the most ordinary object, like a quarter, can have an extraordinary story behind it. That is why people still talk about this coin today. That is why collectors still search rolls of quarters. And that is why the 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter continues to capture attention, curiosity, and excitement across the coin collecting world.